Hello and welcome to another installment of CR Wrestling Commentary. I'm your host, Cedric Kennedy. And maybe, possibly, kind of, sort of, depending upon what I say, I'll be joined by Cedric. Today, I'm going to be going over my thoughts on me disrespecting Big Swole. Now, if you listen to Jim Cornette and Brian Last on the dual podcast that they have, you will find that they can't stand Big Swole. Her name, her look, there's no gimmick, exposing herself wrestling-wise, business-wise, while trying to be another way. And those surface things, you know, as a pro wrestler, yeah, okay, if you're going to be a heel, don't put out a sad story or a story of triumph. Anything that paints you in a very positive, let's care and love you light. You don't need to do that. If you're a face, do that. But if you're a heel, don't. Now, before, a lot of stuff I knew before even finding Cornette and Last. And the fact that I watch Cornette and Last will turn a lot of people off, because those people are the ones that don't know anything about pro wrestling. And yet Cornette and Last are the ones, they do say at points certain things, mainly Cornette, that make me want to just rip his eyebrows off of him. And you know, it's, but I get what he's saying, to why he's saying it sometimes on those things that I do disagree with. I can't see where they come in about Big Swole being the worst wrestler in the world. And I really can't see that so much.
Neither can I.
You know, I can't see it, because I've seen worse. So and if that's me noticing it before all of this, before Big Swole was a wrestler. Now, there are things that I watched one of her last matches. I've seen two matches, but I only paid attention to the last one, and that was her against was it Lindsay Snow?
Yep,
something.
That was her name.
That was it?
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Okay. Both of them didn't do so well, and I started seeing certain things. Now, before I get into that and wrap it up after that, I'm going to let you know why I say I'm disrespecting her. That's because of an back and forth with someone that clearly has forgotten me, forgotten who I am and the things and my points of view.
Or they never knew.
Yeah, or never knew, despite, you know, back and forth conversations and things like that. And this is a wrestler. And I am going to take out anything personal. I'm not even going to insult this person. I'm not. And going on my background, I could rip anybody asunder with no problem. But I'm not going to do that, because he hasn't crossed the line. He hasn't crossed it. He's coming across as a fanboy, and that's why it's like this. So I'm going to give him this. This is second time. No one goes past 3 with me. This is the second one. The first one was ghosting me. I wasn't important enough anymore. That's normally egregious enough to anybody, usually. But this is his second. I'm being fair, and I'm being honestly magnanimous, especially going on my history with people and how they are towards me. I'm being very magnanimous. Last person that I had to rub the wrong way, they had 5 chances of rubbing me the wrong way, you know, but I'm still hoping that person has a good career in painting and art shows and exhibits and stuff like that. And I still follow that person on Twitter. So here's what it is. This is the conversation. It's on screen, and I'm going to read it, translated wise, so that everyone can universally understand. This is from Bobby Reyes, and he says, initially, good strong win at Swole World, also known as Swole Package. Hey world, take notice. Don't underestimate her. Gender and color doesn't matter. She's getting better. If you let negativity affect your decision on liking her, then there's no place in the world for you. No, there's no place in their world for you. Okay. Now, what I said, because I saw that and I just saw that match. So I'm like, okay, I wrote, this is what I wrote, and I'm going to add what wasn't there because I thought it was, and then on the, I don't know what it is about Twitter. It'll just automatically take crap out and it ticks me off. But what I wrote was, I simply want her to get trained by someone old school. I see great potential, but she's surrounded by people that don't care for her to improve. Okay? And the word care was not there, so that's why it annoyed me. So I think that's very cool, chill, great potential. I wish she was trained by someone old school, but everyone around her doesn't care for her to improve. So I'm already saying that she's all right. Clearly she's trained far more than Kenny Omega. And so then Bobby Ray chimes in. If I'm not mistaken, she was. Please don't disrespect her like that. She's in the ring. You are not. If you don't know what we do, please do not comment on things you don't know about. Get trained. Have some shows. If not, have a seat. Now that was disrespectful.
Yeah, it was very disrespectful. Look at here.
Now
no, wait a minute. Y'all are wrestlers. Y'all go in front of people and you perform. You get on TV and you perform. So by putting yourself out there, that means you put yourself out there for ostracism, criticism, insults, and all that. Now, nothing that was said in that tweet response to you was negative. He wasn't being disrespectful. If you don't know what disrespectful is, check out the rest of Twitter. Nothing he said was disrespectful. The problem with that performance was that it doesn't do anything to pull the audience in. No one is saying that Big Swole sucks. No one is saying that Lindsay Snow sucks, but they looked uncomfortable. You know, you couldn't choose a side and be like, I want her to fuck her up, or damn, they're really wrestling hard. It did not pull you in. And I'm speaking from a fan. I want to be entertained, and the match wasn't entertaining. Nobody's saying she ain't skilled. They both could have had a bad night, but the response to that critique was uncalled for. You can't tell somebody to get in the ring or sit down. That's bullshit. You leave yourself open to criticism by getting in the ring yourself. So don't start defending. I mean, Big Swole can defend herself if she didn't like it. She don't need you to defend her. And Macy's probably it should be water off a duck's back because she puts herself in that position. Let's not be like Trump. Oh, they don't like me. They're bad people. Then you go the fuck home if you can't take the criticism.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Now I'm gonna take this a bit. I'm gonna take this apart a little bit. Now he says, if I'm not mistaken, she was trained by someone old school. She was. She just looked it up much earlier today, and she was trained by George South. She made her debut in 2015. George South is credible, old school, knows his stuff, has put over top talent his whole career. He's worked with the best, trained with the best. He is the best. He's highly regarded by every old school wrestler, manager, and all of that. Highly regarded. All right. But here's the thing. Just like school, watching my daughter, we raised her, and then and she knows right from wrong. She knows how to treat people. But then when she goes to school away from us and those kids start influencing her to behave differently, then that's what she's going to do. And that's what she's done. Just like every single one of you. You know right from wrong. You know right from wrong. You know how to treat people. You know how not to treat people, but yet you will treat people negatively anyway. You know, and I gave constructive criticism. I didn't do what others have done. I gave constructive criticism. And I'm not going to cheer somebody on just because they're black. Just because I'm black, I'm black, they're black, I got to cheer them on. No. If you do not do a good job, I don't need to cheer you on. I need to say, hey, you have not done a good job. Now, I honestly have held my words back. But I'm going to tell you something. The reason I'm not blistering Bobby Ray's is because I've seen his in-ring work. And his in-ring work, could it be improved? Oh, yes. But it exposes one thing about him. Generally, he cares about people, usually. You can see it. He really, really cares about people. And that reflects in his in-ring work. So someone that got a heart that big, I'm not going to sit here and blister. Especially when while he did come across, you can tell he was snarky. But yet he was being as, I'm going to be for her and be on the side of wrestlers and not a fan. So that's what he's doing. And I'm that type of person that I'm not going to protect my own. I'm not doing that. What's true is true. What's false is false. Let's deal with it properly. That's it. So when he says, please don't disrespect her like that, I can't help but ask, how do you want me to disrespect her? That's just my default. Don't do it like this. Then how do you want me to do it? How do you want me to disrespect her? And I'm not being a jerk with that. No, that's straight up. If you're going to say this, like, if you just said, please don't disrespect her, that's still just as bad. It's just, I don't have a question. All I have is, I haven't disrespected her. I didn't say she's the worst talent on the planet, that she can't work at all, that she doesn't know what she's doing in the ring. She's so green, she's lime. I haven't said anything like that. Others have. I've seen comments. I've heard things.
And let's be real.
And I've heard how she's dangerous. Almost got people hurt. Almost got people killed. Almost hurt herself. Didn't know how to put on the program properly. Didn't even really put on the program at all. Yes, all of that. But that's not where I am, because they are not me and I am not them. Therefore, these are my critiques on her. Mine. Go ahead.
Let's be real. She debuted in 2015. 2020. She's only been wrestling 5 years.
She's a 5-year-old in wrestling.
She's still at the beginning of her career. I mean, we're not expecting her to come out and be Akira Hokuto and what's the other one name?
Manami Toyota.
Yeah, or Medusa or
Amazing Kong. Awesome Kong.
No, we're not expecting
Aja
that.
Kong.
She's growing. You know, there's no need to defend her like she is at the peak of her career. No, she's only been in it 5 years. And I bet in her humble heart, she would even admit that she still got a lot to learn. Just because she on AEW doesn't mean she's the top of the heap. No, the wrestling world and the type of wrestling and what you can do is so vast, far more vast than me and Cedric even know. So she is at the beginning.
Matt Sydal is, I wouldn't call him a ring veteran, but he is highly experienced. And on AEW, he has done some stupid stuff. Some really stupid stuff.
But if you see him on Ring of Honor,
he's not going to do that stupid stuff.
He's crisp and polished. He's a pleasure to watch.
Yep. Watch him in the Pure Tournament.
We saw Big Swole wrestle on the indie show on YouTube, and I wish I could remember what it was. But she did good.
Yes.
So when
completely different than what we saw on AEW Dark.
So when I heard Cornette, before, this wasn't even recent, it was a while ago, talking about how terrible she was, I was surprised. I'm like,
what?
I remember her performing really well. People are influenced by their atmosphere, as Cedric mentioned earlier in his reference to kids in school. And what they expect out of you at AEW is probably not her top shit.
It's like, get in there, do something, look good, make the fans happy.
Man, with a name like Big Swole, she could stiffen up and come with it. They don't want that. They don't want the women to wrestle like they can wrestle. They want them to and throw themselves around and hair flinging and all that bullshit.
AEW don't even want the men wrestling like they can wrestle.
It's so, you know, the fault doesn't lie with Big Swole. The fault lies with where she works. But I understand you got to work someplace. And that, you know, it's not, it sucks that AEW is the way it is, but they're a paying job, so I get that. But coming down on someone critiquing her the way you did, talking about somebody to take a seat, that's bullshit. So when you hear this, if you hear this, you got any critique, you can voice it at me, because I'm saying it was bullshit for you to say that, especially for someone who tried to help you out. I'm done.
He says she's in the ring, you are not. I'm like, that don't matter. So it's like that's why I don't even care about military veterans. I'm a veteran. You have to respect me. I'm like, I'm a citizen. I live. I work. I can't work, but still, I am here. I exist. I don't deserve respect just because I'm not in the military or have been in the military.
Or how about this? A doctor kills a patient on the table. Well, you're not a doctor. He is, so you can't critique. No, someone is dead
because of what that person did.
It doesn't matter if I'm a doctor or not. They killed somebody. They're far beyond a critique at this point.
Yes, when they didn't have to. Or we made a mistake and we did this and we didn't know how to recover from it. So it's like, you are a professional.
You didn't spend 16 years in school to not know how to recover from it.
You shouldn't have made the mistake in the first place. If you felt hesitant about something, then you shouldn't do it. Just like in wrestling, just like in construction, anything. Oh, well, we didn't have all the money for all the materials, so we used this shoddy cheap crap so we could get it done faster, and we used like less experienced labor, and there you go, Titanic sunk.
You don't do things half-assed, and you don't do things you don't know how to do.
So saying she's in the ring and I'm not, that honestly, that's not even cool. That's not even right. Because I don't have to be in the ring. Truthfully, I'm watching her. Everything that you just said earlier, I am watching her. Do you know how I watch wrestling? No, you don't. You don't know. When I even go to live wrestling events where it's almost standing room only because all the seats are taken because it's a small venue, I'm standing there. You would have thought I was a wrestling scouter. I stand there, I'm quiet, my arms are folded, and I am watching them. I am watching them like a hawk. Not to see anything that, oh wow, that exposes the business or anything. No. I am looking at skill, talent. I am looking at how they move, their style, their individual personality in those moves. I am looking at everything from top to bottom. I am seeing them. And it's really one of the main reasons why I was able to, back in the day, spot somebody that would go somewhere, wrestle somewhere else in a mask and a completely different getup, and still say, oh, I know who that is. Because I know their style, their personality is in their movements. You know, personality is in the movements. I study these matches. I studied these wrestlers. So when we talk about Sonata, when we talk about Kenta, when we talk about anybody, when their matches against each other, and we can tell who tanked and who didn't, who gave in all of their stuff and wrestled somebody else's match, that's because we have watched them that closely. And I know I've watched a lot closer than Cedra. Cedra is still coming up to where I am, but she is damn near there.
Now, you can't put Kenny Omega in a mask and convince anybody that's not Kenny Omega.
He does a little stutter steps and stuff, and I'm like, why did it take you 3 steps to run forward?
It'd be like putting Dusty in a mask. That didn't work.
Midnight Rider. Look, I don't know who knows Dusty Rhodes is, but look, I'm the Midnight Rider. We are not worried about any of that. It's like, what you know who you are. And that was the comedy. That was the comedy in wrestling. Magnum TA ain't hiding that hair. He ain't hiding that chest, them arms, that style in the ring. Wow, this masked dude does the belly-to-belly suplex just like Magnum TA. This guy does that running strong elbow drop like Dusty Rhodes. That's amazing. And they look just like them body-wise.
Here's another one. Remember when Ibushi was dressed up as Tiger King something?
Tiger Mask W.
Tiger Mask
or
W.
the white.
Now, I wasn't familiar with Ibushi at the time.
Me neither.
But we were watching this, and he was wrestling Okada, and Okada got him all pissed off, and he started shooting on Okada.
Uh-huh.
We were like, what the hell? Fast forward, watching Ibushi wrestle.
It was like, huh?
That's just like
see? Because his personality is in his moves, in his style. It's there. And it's like, let's look this up.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up.
Sure
Okay,
enough.
Yep. And it wasn't up there. We looked up Tiger Mask W for New Japan. And
It didn't say there at first.
It wasn't up there. But it did let you know that it was a character being played from a cartoon. But it didn't tell you who was under that mask. So we figured it out before it even got on Wiki. Because we watched this stuff.
It's an appreciation.
Yes.
We're not fan people. We're not, oh, they're them, so they're great. No. We appreciate what they do in the ring. And we also appreciate the fact that Big Swole is not showing everything she can do.
So if you don't do what we do, he says, if you don't do what we do, please do not comment on things you don't know about. Get trained. Have some shows. If not, have a seat. Now, if you don't do what we do, please don't comment. No, that's like when women say, well, you know what? You can't give birth, so you can't comment on if you should be pro-choice or pro-life. You know, you can't comment on a woman doing anything with her body because
That's
you
bullshit.
can't give birth. It's like, you know
You
what?
can
Then?
comment
You know
on
what?
whatever
Then?
you
This
want
is
to
how it
comment
goes.
on.
If a woman, seriously, if a woman does that, then there should be no male OBGYNs. There should be no male anything dealing with any female anything, period. I don't give a damn if it's heart surgery. I don't care if it's transplant. Since you don't have a woman's body, don't work on a woman. And I'm gonna promise you this: you got that mentality. There are not too many women surgeons out there compared to male surgeons.
That's true. And as I said earlier, Bobby Rays, y'all are in an entertainment industry where the whole point is going out there and entertaining to make some money. You ain't out there wrestling just for the love of it and making no money. No, people have to come see you in order for you to get paid. So those people are going to have comments. They're going to have opinions and they're going to have critiques. So are you saying all you want is wrestlers in the audience? They're the only ones that have earned the right to watch you?
What?
None of that makes any sense.
I'm gonna tell you this straight up. I'm gonna drop my thing here, and I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'm gonna say this. This is gonna sound disrespectful, but this is shooting straight towards him, straight to you, Bobby Rays. You're most likely younger than me. You most likely haven't studied things or watched things that I have. So I remember those days when the wrestlers would be in that ring and the fans are cheering. I remember the days where the fans would rush the guardrails, some of them taking swipes at the bad guys, some taking swipes at the good guys for beating their favorite bad guy. I've seen that on the National Wrestling Alliance. I've seen that even here locally, you know, back in the day before the company went defunct. It was extremely rare, but it happened. You're not from that time. You're from right now in the era where even it started in elementary school of everybody that's in this race gets a ribbon. Everyone in wrestling, we're all cool. We're doing this business together. We're all trying to work together. Let's go and put on a good show. Screw the ego. Screw I got to be on top. I got to be the better man. Let's go out and have the best match we can. And everybody in wrestling right now is like, you should be the cool guy. If the fans, and I've heard people say this, and maybe they've said it to you, maybe they haven't. If they haven't, awesome. But if they have messed up with you. But when they say the fans should be loving you, they should be cheering for you. No, they don't. If you're a heel, the fans should be saying, man, that dude is cool. No, the fans should be like, I don't like this guy. And if you are a polished, great worker in the ring, and you got your style down, you know who and what you want to do, and you're not changing up a move here and there, changing up your finisher all the time so people can relate and say, oh, I know what this guy is about. I know what he can do. He's dangerous. I don't like him. I want to just shoot him in the head. I hate this guy. But the one he's in the ring with, man, if he don't do this, he's going to get messed up. That is how people saw The Undertaker. Yeah, undead dude. How real is that? But you know what he can do. You know he'll mess you up. Scott Steiner as a heel. You know he will mess you up. He would do that as a face. And Scott Steiner's never been an actual true baby face. It's just everybody else is that much worse than him. So the crowd cheered Scott. You know, Ron Simmons, face or heel. You knew it. He would hit with authority, slam with authority. And this is before WWE. He was better, way better before WWE. I miss that Ron Simmons. You got baby faces that are exactly the same, like Sting. You know, that was a great baby face. Ricky Steamboat was a really great baby face. Even Randy Savage, when he went baby face, you're still like, that dude's elbow drop is gonna jack you up. His his neck breaker drop is gonna mess you up. His running and stunning you over the top rope as he dropped to the floor is gonna mess you up. You knew they were dangerous. You knew their style. You knew what to expect. They might add some things here and there, but you knew what to expect of them. And that's cross promotion. I just went. All right. So you can't sit here and say, if you don't know what we do, please don't comment. I know what you do. I know what you do. And I know that should be a magic and a thing about pro wrestling. It's supposed to look like a fight. It's supposed to look real. It's supposed to look that way. And you have to market yourself and the company that way. So you can't have gaps in what you do with your opponent. You both have to work together. It's one of the greatest, longest magic shows on the planet. And when you have people messing up, you are exposing the magician's secrets. That's the thing. That is what Big Swole and others in this current generation do that's not favorable. Expose the magician's secrets. It doesn't matter if everybody knows that it's a work. What matters is that you're still showing that it's a competition. There is no cooperation to be displayed. There is no stomping the mat, but then the person's holding their forehead. There's none of that. Don't do any of that. And I've seen AEW do stuff like that before it was called out by the big wigs like Cornette and Last. They're just as elitist as honestly these comments are trying to be, are actually doing. They look at me the way you look at me, and they're going to look at you the way you look at me. Now, I am not a hater of Bobby Ray's. I'm not a hater of Big Swole. When I watched, now I'm getting into Big Swole's match, and I ain't going to talk long on it. It's been long enough. But her match with Lindsay Snow, it was not that good. And like she just said, who do I cheer for? Big Swole, I remember her long promo on her life history and what she had to overcome. So in my mind, I'm expecting someone to come out and be a super baby face. That's what I'm expecting. Now, when Swole comes out, I thought, okay, this woman's beautiful. She's got a body. And then I was struck heavily, not just by her ring gear color, but that her hair matched it. I thought that is awesome. And then I was wondering, how did she do that? Because my daughter would like to get color in her hair. How did Big Swole do that? And Big Swole doesn't mean as she put it, and I like that she put it that way, that you're ripped with all muscles. No, you're bigger than life. You are swole. You are big. Your personality, your desires, your achievements, don't hold yourself back.
That sounds like babyface talk.
Yes. So she comes out and they're wrestling. She's not really doing any heel tactics. Not really. A little bit of jaw jacking here and there, but primarily trying to remember the order of moves that they're supposed to do. Lindsay is doing the same thing. Big Swole had a mess up that looked pretty damn cool if she could turn that into a repertoire. There was a point, Lindsay dropped down, Swole was supposed to go for an elbow drop. Now, I don't know if any of you saw this or not, but this looked really cool. But Lindsay was supposed to move out the way. Swole stops, goes for the elbow, slowly turns, corkscrews her arm, about to drop the elbow, has to slow up and hold, utter for her to move. Lindsay moves, and then she turns into a high-speed elbow drop, almost from a lateral position, almost horizontal in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was almost like a mixture of the flashing elbow and the people's elbow. It looked almost like a mixture of that, and I thought that looked so awesome. If she could just turn that into one of her repertoire moves, one of her signatures, as I said at the time, that would be awesome. But she'd have to hit it. That's the difference. There were times where Lindsay would drop down too close to the damn ropes, and Big Swole, she would try to run over her instead of hop over her. You got to clear so you don't trip. She's trying to run like she's in the bedroom shoes. You can't do that. I do not want to see her get hurt in that ring. I do not need to see her with a twisted or broken or bruised ankle. Young, up-and-coming talent need to be as safe as possible. Even if your matches feel boring or the fans are like, this is boring. They're not doing like tope suicidas and they're not powerbombing each other on the cars. No, be safe. Safe above anything. And yes, like Kevin Nash would say, I'm not doing bumps unless I'm getting paid. And Cornette and Last are like, it's silly to do big bumps in front of a crowd that won't remember you tomorrow. Or that match. Or the event. Or that they was probably even there. So, I saw those hiccups and a lot more that I'm not going to call out. I saw a lot of stuff. And I was like, this match right here is about a 2-star match. But maybe they're working. So my whole point was, that's why I said I see great potential, but she's surrounded by people that don't care for her to improve. Because if they care for her to improve, they would keep her training. She trained maybe, a year? Maybe a year and a half with George South. Left George South, and then her skills went south. Because you start unlearning because there's no one to elevate you. And if you don't have someone or someone's always pushing you, teaching you, training you, then you are not trained. You don't get a mindset for what you got to do. You don't polish up what you do in that ring. And if you don't polish up the basics, you sure as shit don't need to be doing anything advanced. Get the combo sequences down. Learn how to stomp. Learn how to elbow drop. Learn how to slam. Take a slam. Learn how to come off the ropes. Learn how to properly fall out the ring so you don't break anything. Little things like that. That's what I keep trying to get at. And that's one reason why I can't watch AEW. That's another reason why I will never be a fanboy of anything in and out of wrestling. I can't even be a fanboy to Cedra's writing. Because if I am a fanboy, then, oh, you did good. That's great. I like that. No, I have to be able to critique it. Because here's the most important thing I'm going to be able to say before I get up out of here. If you think you are above criticism, then you have legitimately said, I don't care to get better. I don't care for people to point out what I may have messed up in. Because you know something? To you, I'm just some dude. Just some dude that's making some comments. But you know something? If I critique your matches that I've seen and you listened to me on not what to do, but what I saw and said, I need to do this better. Go to your trainer. Go to a credible trainer and just say, how do I improve this? Because I look back and I see what he said. How do I improve that to make that look better? Then you get better. Anybody would get better. That's the truth. So if you are a student of the game, if you are that guy that's going to be better, if you're going to be that monster in wrestling, if you're going to be that unstoppable force, face or heel, always seek to improve by any means necessary. Shortcuts, cheers, and no jeers, and saying only nice things, and you get a ribbon, you get a ribbon, you get a ribbon, everybody gets a ribbon.
And nobody gets better.
That's the simple truth. If me saying that Big Swole needs more training or further old school training is disrespectful, then what would it be if I actually said the things that everybody else said? That's what you got to be asking. This has been 36 minutes. It's gone long enough. But I hope I've made myself clear. And yet, you probably see this as disrespectful. But I'm going to say this in closing. No matter how disrespectful you think I have been, keep in mind, Bobby Rays, what I try to do for you, how I advertise for you, and I never say anything negative to or about you, even off commentary. I didn't say anything negative. But you're going to come at me like this. That is disrespectful. This has been Cedric Considero for CR Wrestling Commentary. Thank you for listening. Good night, everyone.